Hey, Vibrant Life Center family, Dr. Barrett here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about it's mid-December, January, when everybody wants to get in shape and change your life and turn the corner on what's been happening in 2020 for your life. You should really, the easiest thing to do is to start that in December. That way you're not digging out of a big hole from, all the holiday party food and whatever. And I know it's 2020, you're not probably going to be doing a ton of that. But every year, Thanksgiving through Christmas, um, hard to stay ahead of that. You got to be working extra hard. So we're just going to focus today on like, all right, what kind of food would you eat? How do you stay ahead of this? How do you not end up, 10 pounds heavier January 1st and working backwards from there into February? And all you've done is really you've got in shape. You got into the shape you were in last year instead of moving forward. So I'm just going to talk about some of the things we do at our house. But before, I'll just be honest with you. Last year, I did not do too well with this. The years before, I'm really pretty good at you just start before Thanksgiving, and you are following these rules all along. But last year, I kind of fell off the wagon. Man, I was eating cookies. I was just doing all that stuff that we did growing up. But I'm 59 now. Can't be behaving like that because cookies stay with you. So anyway, so what we do now, and this is kind of what we did around Thanksgiving. Here's a big tip, and I know you've heard this before. Um, Smaller plates, smaller portions. Really, wow, that really does a lot right there. The other thing we do is rather than have snacks to munch on afterwards, we have leave the veggie trays out with good dips in that, not like the little bean dip things and hummus with more spices. Go spicier on that. Makes it worth your while. So those are some simple tips. Also nuts, because they're good for you. They're also kind of high calorie, so you have to be careful with that. One handful of nuts is enough. You're kind of over the calorie mark like that. The other thing is drinks. I have posted on social media my last couple of trips. I run over to the Cub Food and grab lunch. I just run through the veggie section, and I will grab a celery. I grab celery and avocado dip, spicy avocado dip, and maybe a couple eggs or something, and that's lunch. It's good. It's good for you. It's pretty, not a huge pile of calories, and it's grown. It's real food. But here's the thing: when I'm waiting in line and the cart's in front of me, it's really, really hard to just kind of put all this stuff together. Everybody's, very, very concerned about their health and COVID. But the cart in front of me has got 2 or 3 cases of Pepsi and Coke. The cart behind me has got 2 or 3 cases of Pepsi, sugar water, basically sugar water and carbonation. And those are some of the absolute worst things you can put in your body if you're trying to, present a reasonable immune defense to what's going on in the environment around us. Wherever you're at on mass, you need to be working on immune defense anyway. And that is absolutely an assault on your immune defense. It drives inflammation. The coronavirus takes advantage of inflammation. That's just not something that people should be bringing home and putting in their house right now. But it's huge. There's a whole, if you go to the supermarket, there's a whole row of this stuff. It's up and down the aisle. I don't know how many cases are in a row, but every supermarket's got it. Anyway, here's the alternative to that. Good starting point, Zevia. It's a name brand, and it is stevia sweetened soda or pop. Second to that would be things like iced tea. I use a lot of bottled iced tea just for something to grab when I'm at the gas station or something like that. The no sugar versions, of course. There's only like one choice in both brands. Actually, one of them's got lemon version of that. But they're good. They're like, they don't add to your caloric intake. They're a little caffeinated though, so you can't have too much of that. The other thing we use a lot of for our friends when friends and family come over is sparkling waters, flavored sparkling waters. Everybody makes these now. Cucumber is very good. I'm a big fan of the lime and the lemon ones. I know they make raspberry and all kinds of weird flavors. I'm kind of a basic lime and lemon, or straight up that kind of thing. They don't have sugars in them either. So those are all good choices in that. Um, Speaking of sweeteners, so stevia is a plant. People are confused about this. They get it confused with things like NutraSweet, and which is aspartame, name brand NutraSweet. That is really kind of hard on your nervous system. It's not a good thing to be using. It messes up your blood sugar immediately and really hard on your nervous system. It's pretty toxic stuff. The confusing part for people is that the product you can buy is called stevia in the raw, and you can use this for baking and whatever. And it's not terrible, really, because it's stevia mixed with like erythritol, I believe, a sugar alcohol. And sugar alcohols are modified alcohols. It's not like alcohol ethanol, but it's modified alcohol that does not absorb. So it tastes sweet on your taste buds, but it doesn't really absorb. Some people get a little sensitive to that if you use a lot of that, but that is another tool you can use. Just be aware that, some of the marketing on that, a lot of the stevia marketing isn't really stevia. The sugar alcohol is a bit less expensive. Stevia, again, is just a plant. So these are tools for you. Things like you can actually make whipped cream out of this stuff with coconut milk, stevia, and and some cream and a high mixer, high speed mixer in that. So pretty good for you in that regard. Also, so you're after flavors. That's what I'm always thinking when, all right, if you have a sweet tooth, for instance, you want to go, forage after the main dinner, you're really looking for something kind of interesting tasting, and that's where things like mint come in for me. You can use things like that, or salty things like that. And traditionally, salty isn't good either, but it's a lot less offensive than the carbs and the sugars, and that's all we're trying to address here, because that's what you're going to be carrying around in January, and then trying to do 100 jumping jacks and pull-ups and sit-ups to try and get rid of, is the carbs. That isn't really the salt. The salt makes you hold on to water, but it's not terribly dangerous overall. It's really the simple carbs, processed carbs. Anything that comes out of a box, out of a package, that processed carb, it means processed, think of that word, means digested, pre-digested for you, which makes it very easy to raise your blood sugar. And then raising your blood sugar comes with increased insulin, and the insulin is really doing damage to your arteries in the back of your eyes and whatever. This is happening over and over and over again. That is really the damaging process. So that's why we're trying to avoid that. So some of the things in terms of preparing the meal, everybody wants to come over and have this fabulous meal, big turkey or big ham and mashed potatoes and apple pie or pumpkin pie or whatever those things are. I agree. All things in moderation. Don't not have the pumpkin pie, but really, you know what? You don't need a sixth of the pie. You don't. You need a 12th of the pie, or less than that. You can have a 12th of the pie and get the flavor for it and whatever. You don't need to fill up on a pumpkin pie, for gosh sakes. Fill up on the veggies, fill up on the basically plant foods, clean proteins. By the way, ham's very hard to find a clean protein ham. But to be honest, if it's once a year, I don't know that you got to go find it isn't really called grass fed, but organically and pastured pig that is not fed hormones, and soy is predominantly the issue with hams, is they're fed soy. So it's once a year. If you're going to be celebrating Hanukkah or Christmas or whatever holiday you're celebrating, you're not doing this every day, right? So yeah, actually have at it, do something crazy. But I find that these holidays tend to go on for days and days and days. You still got the food in your fridge the next 3 days. My gosh, Thanksgiving, I think we finally finished the turkey, I don't know, a week ago. Today is December 14 or 15. I think it was a week ago we finally finished the rest of the leftovers from this turkey. Which reminds me, those leftovers, by the way, sweet potatoes, slightly better for you than mashed potatoes. If you're going to do that, sweet potatoes or squash, slightly better than mashed potatoes. Serves the same function. You can make a little dam and put your gravy in it. Kind of fun, but slightly better for you. Slightly lower glycemic index, which means how quickly it turns to sugar in your body. So anyway, that's the tools. If you can stay on that, that's going to help. So anyway, we're here for you. Call us. you need our help, Oakdale, 651-777-3611, Edina, 952-835-0006. You can find us online, vibrantlifecenter.com. You clearly found us here, so you know how to find us. So anyway, God bless. Talk to you soon.